Hello, plant lovers. Welcome to Still Growing Seniors. I'm glad you're here because today we're going to talk about something special. I'm talking about plants that stay with you for a long time, true companions for life. These are indoor plants that can live indoors for decades and in some cases even outlive the people who bought them. If you're looking for plants that grow alongside you, plants you could one day pass on to your kids, or even plants that turn into family heirlooms, you're in the right place. Today, I'm diving into 5 incredible houseplants that can live well over 20 years indoors when they're cared for properly. Number 1, the jade plant, also known as the living heirloom. Jade plants are legendary when it comes to long life. With the right care, they can live anywhere from 50 to even 100 years. And there are real documented jade plants that are already more than a century old. These succulents usually start out small, with thick, coin-shaped leaves, but over time they slowly transform into sturdy, tree-like plants with thick, woody trunks. One of the biggest reasons jade plants live so long is their slow, steady growth combined with their toughness. They store water in their thick leaves and trunk, which lets them handle periods of neglect without much trouble. You don't lose them easily from the occasional mistake, and that kind of resilience really matters when you're talking about a plant that could be with you for decades. Caring for a jade plant is pretty simple. They like bright light, especially near a sunny window where the leaves can develop that nice reddish edge. You only want to water them once the soil is completely dry, which usually means every 2 to 3 weeks. During the winter months, they need even less water. Sometimes just once a month is enough. As jade plants get older, they really start to show character. The trunk thickens and becomes gnarled, branches form naturally, and the plant begins to look like a miniature tree without any special training. A mature jade plant in a large pot can go weeks without water and rarely needs to be repotted. In fact, they can comfortably stay in the same pot for 5 to 10 years. There's also a big money-saving benefit here. A small jade plant usually costs around $5 to $10, and if it lasts you 20 years or more, that's basically free beauty and enjoyment for just pennies a year. Compare that to constantly buying new trendy plants that don't last. On top of that, jade plants are incredibly easy to propagate. A single leaf or stem cutting can turn into a whole new plant. The emotional value grows too. Watching a plant you bought in a tiny 4-inch pot slowly turn into a solid 2-foot tree over the years creates a real connection. Number 2, the cast iron plant, truly indestructible and built to last. The cast iron plant earned its name for a reason. It's almost impossible to kill. Indoors, these plants can live anywhere from 30 to 50 years, surviving neglect, poor conditions, and just about everything life throws at them. They have long, dark green, blade-like leaves that grow straight out of the soil, giving them a clean, elegant, architectural look. What really makes cast iron plants special is how tolerant they are. They handle low light better than almost any houseplant, surviving in spots where most plants would give up. They're fine with irregular watering, dry air, temperature changes, and general neglect. That toughness means they can stick with you through moves, busy schedules, and all the chaos that comes with different phases of life. Cast iron plants also grow very slowly, which is actually a good thing for a long-term plant. They don't outgrow their space quickly, and they don't demand constant repotting. Care couldn't be easier They prefer low to medium light and actually don't like direct sun. Water them when the top 2 inches of soil feel dry, usually every 1 to 2 weeks. Dry indoor air doesn't bother them at all, so there's no need for misting or humidifiers. As these plants age, they start forming large, impressive clumps of foliage. A cast iron plant that's been around for 20 years can have hundreds of leaves and completely fill a big floor pot with lush greenery. From a money standpoint, this plant really pays off. Large, mature cast iron plants often sell for $50 to $100. But if you buy a small one for around $20 to $30 and give it time, it can grow into that same impressive plant over the years. There's something comforting about owning a plant that stays with you through major life changes. Your cast iron plant can move with you from apartment to apartment, through career changes, relationships, and family growth. Number 3, the rubber plant, the majestic indoor tree. Rubber plants can easily live 30 to 50 years indoors and grow into large, dramatic house trees that reach 6 to 10 feet tall. They usually start out small, with thick, glossy leaves in shades of deep green or burgundy, and over time they develop strong trunks and branching structures that really make a statement. What makes rubber plants such great long-term companions is how they grow. When they're young, they grow fairly quickly, so you get to enjoy visible progress in the early years. As they mature, that growth slows down, and the plant settles into a steady, commanding presence that changes gradually over decades. Rubber plants are also very adaptable. They can handle a range of light conditions and are forgiving if you occasionally mess up the watering schedule. Care is straightforward. They do best in bright, indirect light. Water them when the top 2 inches of soil feel dry, which is usually about once a week. Their large leaves tend to collect dust, so giving them a gentle wipe with a damp cloth once a month helps keep them healthy and looking their best. As rubber plants get older, you can actually guide their shape through pruning. If the plant starts getting too tall for your space, you can cut it back, and it will respond by branching out instead of just growing straight up. Over time, the trunk thickens and becomes solid, sometimes reaching several inches in diameter, and the whole plant starts to look like a real indoor tree. From a money-saving point of view, rubber plants make a lot of sense. Small plants usually cost somewhere between $15 and $25, while large, mature rubber plants at nurseries can run anywhere from $150 to $300 or more. Growing one yourself from a small plant to a large specimen over 15 to 20 years saves you that money, and it also gives you the satisfaction of raising it from the beginning. Another bonus is propagation. Every time you prune your rubber plant, those cuttings don't have to go to waste. They can be rooted and turned into brand new plants. Over the course of 20 years, a single rubber plant can produce dozens of offspring that you can keep for yourself, give to friends and family, or even sell. Number 4, the Kentia palm, the elegant survivor. Kentia palms are well known for both their beauty and their long life. Indoors, they can live 40 to 50 years or even longer, slowly growing into graceful, refined plants that add a timeless tropical feel to any room. What makes Kentia palms such great long-term houseplants is their slow, steady growth and their ability to handle indoor conditions. Unlike many other palms that struggle inside, Kentias are naturally adapted to lower light and drier air. They're patient plants, and they tend to reward owners who are willing to be patient too. Kentia palms have soft, feathery fronds that arch outward from multiple stems, creating a relaxed, elegant look. They grow slowly, usually producing only one or two new fronds each year. Over the decades, though, that slow growth adds up, and the plant can reach 6 to 8 feet tall indoors with a full, lush appearance. Their care needs are moderate and stay fairly consistent as the plant ages. Kentia palms prefer medium to bright indirect light, but they tolerate lower light better than most palms. Water them when the top inch of soil feels dry, which usually works out to once or twice a week. They enjoy humidity, but they can adapt to normal indoor air if you forget about it now and then. The real secret to keeping a Kentia palm healthy for the long term is consistency. These palms don't like sudden changes. It's best to keep them in the same spot, stick to a regular watering routine, and avoid moving them around too much. When they're given stability, they reward you with steady, healthy growth over many years. As Kentia palms age, the older fronds will eventually turn yellow and die off, and that's completely normal. When that happens, you just cut the yellowed fronds off at the base. The plant continues producing new fronds at the top while shedding the older ones at the bottom, which helps it keep its elegant look throughout its life. One thing to keep in mind with very long-lived Kentia palms is their eventual size. A 40-year-old plant can be quite large. That said, they grow slowly enough that you can plan ahead, and they hold their shape well without pruning, unlike some plants that become leggy or awkward over time. From a cost perspective, Kentia palms are another smart long-term investment. Small plants usually cost $30 to $50, while large mature specimens at nurseries often sell for $300 to $600 or more. If you grow your own over 20 or 30 years, you end up with that expensive statement plant for a fraction of the price. It does take patience, but in a way, the Kentia palm teaches patience through its slow, steady growth. There's something meaningful about owning a Kentia palm that's been with you for decades. As it grows, it quietly marks the passage of time. The fronds you see today will be gone in a few years, replaced by new ones, yet the plant itself continues on, a living timeline of your life. Number 5. Monstera deliciosa, the growing legend. Monsteras can live 20 to 40 years indoors, growing from small, simple plants into dramatic giants with massive split leaves. Young plants start with solid leaves, but over time they develop the iconic fenestrations, with mature leaves reaching 2 to 3 feet across. A 5-year-old monstera looks nothing like a 20-year-old one. What makes monsteras such great long-term plants is the balance between fast, exciting early growth and manageable maturity. Their changes are easy to notice year after year, making them incredibly rewarding to grow. Monsteras tolerate a wide range of conditions, from medium to bright indirect light, and they usually recover well from occasional watering mistakes. While they appreciate humidity, they don't depend on it, which helps them thrive even when care isn't perfect. Care is straightforward. Bright indirect light encourages the biggest leaves, and watering when the top 2 inches of soil dry out, usually about once a week, keeps them happy. A moss pole or trellis supports their natural climbing habit and promotes larger, more deeply split leaves. Monthly leaf cleaning helps keep them healthy and glossy. As they age, monsteras can grow very large, so pruning and training become useful. Cuttings root easily if you want new plants, or you can let the plant grow freely for a bold jungle-like look. Aerial roots are completely normal and should be guided into the soil or onto a moss pole rather than cut off, as they help support the plant and absorb moisture. The real reward comes with time. Older monsteras produce enormous, dramatically split leaves that become more impressive every year. There's also a financial upside. Small plants are inexpensive, while mature specimens can sell for hundreds of dollars, making long-term growing both satisfying and cost-effective. Monsteras may be trendy now, but they've been loved for decades. Owning one long-term connects you to that history and turns the plant into a true companion rather than a decoration. And that brings us to 5 houseplants that can live more than 20 years indoors. These aren't disposable accents. They're living investments that grow more valuable and beautiful over time. Choose plants that grow with you and enjoy the deep satisfaction of long-term care. All right, that's it for today. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe to Still Growing Seniors for more long-term plant care tips. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you have any plants that have been with you for years? What's the oldest plant you own? And what topics would you like to see next? Hit that like button if you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching, and here's to plants that truly last a lifetime. Happy planting